When ChatGPT was introduced in late November 2022, it would become the fastest growing platform ever, reaching 1 million users in 5 days and 100 million users in 2 months. We didn't know it yet, but it would be the start of the AI revolution. Now, nearly 6 months later, we're seeing the aftermath. We're seeing AI companies pop left and right, promising they'll be the next big thing. The truth is, only a few will survive. But that doesn't matter, because all these companies are doing one thing right. They're taking advantage of an opportunity. Just like when regular people became crypto millionaires, the same thing is happening right now. So what can we do to take advantage, and what can we do to make money in the AI revolution? Before even thinking of choosing a business name or logo, you have to come up with what you want to do, what business you want to start, who your customers will be. And I know this can be a lot, but we'll take this one step at a time. So by the end, you'll know what to do, and more importantly, how to start. The first thing to think of would be, what skills do you have? And it doesn't even have to be good. And if you don't have any skills, then that's fine. All you really need is desire. Desire to be in a better situation. Desire to do things you didn't think were possible. Desire to take risks. Now, if you're watching this video, you probably want to start doing something online, which is excellent. You can do it from anywhere around the world, and all you really need is internet access. So we're going to split these next ideas into 2 categories. The first category is for the analyticals. I don't think that's a word. Those that think more in numbers and are ready to make the sales calls, produce the workflow systems, and more importantly, optimize. And I always considered myself in this category, only to realize I was completely wrong, and I fall into the creative. This would be somebody with a certain skill, and all they're missing is building it into a business. This can range from graphic design, video editing, copywriting, storytelling. And since 2011, I've been filming, I've been editing on a definitely paid for version of Sony Vegas Pro. Oh my god, I thought this was so cool. Yeah. It's not. And even though I have over a decade of experience, it really doesn't show, and that's because of inconsistencies. But I would say my editing is pretty decent. What do you think? Let me know in the comments down below. I've always loved doodling and drawing as a kid, but I eventually stopped just because when I was thinking of the future, I was thinking if I pursue that, I'd go broke. And yeah, I was 11 years old and thinking that. I overthought too much. So as a way to satisfy my inner child, I'm gonna choose graphic design. Now that I know what I'm gonna do, I gotta figure out how to make it into a business. And to do this, I'm gonna work backwards. So if I wanna make money, that means I gotta sell graphics. I gotta sell art. And this can be either B2B or B2C. B2B would be like if I was painting a mural for a local company. I would go ahead and fly out there, drive there, and go ahead and do it. Unfortunately, I don't have the skills for that, nor do I wanna put myself, I'm not trying to go outside. I'm trying to stay indoors. B2C would be like me selling my thumbnail designs to individual creators, and I've gotten reached out about this. But I personally don't like it because it's not lucrative and I don't see it being very scalable. It's one design per one person, one unique design per one person, which means I can't reuse it. And that's not something I want to do. I want to choose something where I can reach a wide audience and reuse the design over and over again. I figured it out. Print on demand, which refers to a business model and production in which products such as books, apparel, accessories. All right, fine. That's what ChatGPT said. But to sum it up, print on demand is a business model where products are not printed until they are ordered by a customer. Thanks, Bard. The real word comes with making designs that sell. But I don't think this, I'm not trying to get sued. So I'll make them digitally with Kittle, which is the sponsor of today's video, but we'll talk about them a bit later. The next challenge is getting customers. So instead of making a standalone website and having to drive traffic, I'd rather just use an established one. And I know I'm gonna have to drive traffic later, but this is just so much easier, so we'll worry about the advertisements later. Yeah. You can go on to the next section. And this is something I've actually tried back in 2020 and 2022, but I didn't see the best results. But this time, I know what to do differently. And since AI is accessible now, it's a lot easier to pump out a bunch of designs at a higher quality, so this way I can make enough to eat Chipotle every single day. Let's do it. So this is an important part, but it can be very easy to overanalyze, kind of like me trying to write this script. I would get stuck in a phase where I would keep putting off step 4, but we'll get to that later. So you can think of competitor research as evidence. So if someone's doing something and it's working, odds are we can go ahead and jump into that same thing and take a piece of the pie. And yes, sometimes that means copying the competition, but that's what capitalism does, so you gotta play the game. But when I say copying, I don't mean flat out copying. I mean taking an idea, but making it your own and giving it a twist. Sort of like I'm doing with this video. When I was doing competitor research, I found out there's a bunch of channels making videos about AI. So I wanted to go ahead and talk about that too, but with a twist. So hopefully you're finding this video valuable. And I want to emphasize, it's very easy to get stuck in the loop of competitor research. But after talking it over with myself, I realized I'm just procrastinating and delaying the inevitable. And truthfully, it's out of fear. Just fear of failure. But just know that failure is inevitable, and it doesn't mean it's a bad thing. Just like Mark Rober said during his TED Talk, think of failure as the Super Mario effect.
When Super Mario Bros. Came out, my friends and I became obsessed. Like, we wanted to get to the castle and rescue the beautiful Princess Peach from the evil Bowser. When it comes to games like this, no one ever picks up the controller for the first time, and then after jumping into a pit thinks, I'm so ashamed, that was such a failure, and they never want to try again. What really happens is they think, oh, I've got to remember, there's a pit right there. So I think next time I'm going to come out with a little more speed, I'm going to jump a little bit later. The focus and the obsession is about beating the game, not how dumb you might look if you get hit by a sliding green shell.
Failure just means you found another way not to save the princess. And if you truly want to save the princess, if you truly have a desire, you'll always find a way. Nike was right. Just do it. It's safe. The reason starting is one of the hardest parts is because all we think about is how. How are we going to do this? How are we going to do that? And the reality is, all this can be figured out. Yes, you'll figure it out. We're living in one of the most progressive times. First, Lemoyne thought Lambda was sentient.
I said, if you were a religious officiant in Israel, what religion would you be? Somehow it figured out that it was a trick question. It said, I would be a member of the one true religion, the Jedi Order.
And now we got literally AI chatbots, AI assistants everywhere.
Relax, killer robots haven't taken over yet.
And if ChatGPT can't help, ask Bard. And if Bard can't help, ask Bing chatbot. Information is literally at your fingertips. So I'm using Etsy as my storefront and Printful as my printing partner. So when I did this before, I used Canva to make my designs manually. But this time there's a bunch of different AI that can help out. And I'm going with Kittle for this. And not only do you get designs made with Kittle, but it also has an AI tool that lets you create an image just by typing whatever you want. And you don't even have to be good at drawing or designing. So if you want to try Kittle out, make sure you use the link down below in the description. So this is the part I failed at. I made a couple hundred designs, but I didn't evaluate. I could have changed my target market. I could have done more competitor research. I could have run ads. I could have done a lot of things, but I didn't. And this is the part where most people give up because they didn't get the results they expected. But just remember, failure means you're one step closer to saving the princess.